session's here today, right? So anything we feel like talking about, talk about. Anything we feel like getting done, we get done. Possibly not tonight, but there'll be a lot of hypothetical discussion about what we're going to punch and what we're going to grab. Yeah. That's actually a better question for Chris. I'm not fully familiarized with the equipment guide for the site. So, let me look it up, right? In 3.5, which I played a lot of back in the day, there were things called tower shields, right? Tower shields gave you additional... Tower shields gave you cover if you chose to use it as cover. So this could be an interesting idea, right? Tower shields, in this case, I don't think that they would provide you additional AC, but what I think that you should have an option to do with tower shields is take a full action, is that when you take the dodge action, I think that you should be able to choose, instead of dodge mode, to take cover instead, to plant the riot shields and shelter behind it. And if you convert your shield to cover, other people could benefit from that. Yeah, so Shield Master would be really perfect for that. Toss the live stream into the server. Goes into that node. Okay. So let's start things out, because hypothetically someone may look at the stream in the future for posterity. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Asvelte. What makes Asvelte Asvelte? I'll kick this off, and then I'm going to hand it over to Chris, and then I'm going to hand it over to the rest of you guys. So, first and foremost, Asvelte, right? Our goal, as I understand it thus far, is to play a cyberpunk setting that is still essentially 5th edition D&D, and is still essentially the races, the spellcasting system, the feats, the character classes from Forgotten Realms. The reason that we're going to this setting instead of the Forgotten Realms is principally because of the way in which magic works. In the Forgotten Realms, magic is fair. The goddess Mystra in her many incarnations has seen to it that magic never accumulates too heavily on the side of the good or still on the side of the evil. There is an active neutrality in magic that is preserved that enables the liberty of the Forgotten Realms to continue. In Asvelte, we've decided amongst ourselves that because all of the current gods that grant spells are corporate owned, and are corporate entities, corporate egregores, the nature of magic in this universe is fundamentally fascist. That power only generates power, and the only thing that can challenge power is more of the same. With that in mind, stories I'm able to tell in this universe are dire. Dire in the sense that being on the side of good is not a guarantee. Being on the side of righteousness really is a weakness. That's how I've been interpreting Asvelte. Chris, you invented this setting. What do you think about it? I want to interrupt you real quick to get you to expand on something you said. That being on the side of good in this world is not easy. That choosing ease, choosing simplicity, often ends you up on the side of evil in this world. That being good is an uphill battle. It gets you no tangible benefits, but it gets you some impediments. Yes. So, going back to the ChatGPT conversation that you sent me, the 3 tenets of Asvelte here: defiance of the gods, a disposable culture, and magic as control. I think those tenets are what we should focus on and what we should build our adventure around, because I think they create a very strong setting here. With that in mind, Chris, do you have anything else to add about your setting?
Not a tear falls from the stone giant's eyes. The wintry wind blows upon his back. No more cuddle for the stony cheeks. The giant looks down at his hands, older than 1,000 years. His legs of rock are covered with moss. Only a pale moonlight shines over his
Very well
shoulders.
said.
His memory
There is
stands
a
still like
veneer
the
upon this
stones,
world.
turned towards his foes.
There is a facade upon
The
this world
loneliness of
that
the stone
covers the
giant
fascism, that
is
covers the
infinite.
incontrovertible nature of power. Yet power is being expressed in every neon light. Power is being expressed in every advertisement. Power is being expressed every time you purchase any of these disposable goods that our society is built upon. Anything else, Chris? With that, let me throw it over to everyone else in the group. What do we feel about Asvelte? What kind of stories have we come here to tell? What's the purpose of this place? Fuck yeah. So a disposable culture is that everything from products to people are viewed as disposable. And the reason for that is because corporations, which are essentially ideologies. Do you guys get what I mean by that? Corporations are essentially ideologies. Any questions about that? Okay, cool. Just because that's a very abstruse statement, I just want to make sure that that is, a corporation is a completely theoretical entity. Yet, the nature of an entity that is purely theoretical, it is built by psychic power, it is sustained by psychic power. Very much in the same way that the portfolios of the gods within the Forgotten Realms are sustained by the psychic power of their believers. Yet here, our gods are closer. Here, our gods are secondary to the will of the corporation. Mankind has wrested control of this universe from the gods. And it is for that reason that it is a fallen world. What kind of stories do we want to tell here? Where from the pistols you buy, the shotguns that you buy that come full of ammunition but can't be reloaded, from the body armor which can only be repaired with proprietary corporate goods, from the rations that you might eat that might pop up a fucking what's it called? A digital rights management notification in your brain telling you, hey, you've subscribed to nicotine by eating this burrito. I think Chris told me something earlier today, which is very interesting, about the nature of disposability, which is that in this universe there is no such thing as a public domain. Every inch of this universe is owned by somebody. The Zephyr Corporation, the largest corporation within this world, the corporation that all of your characters once served or were disaffected by, owns 100% of the rights to the crane. Like that thing that builds streets, builds skyscrapers. There are corporations that own the rights to wheels. There are corporations that own the rights to every simple machine, to every property of physics in this world. And in order to perpetuate their control, they transform the laws of Dharma. They transform universal laws and universal goods, much like magic does, into something that is designed to be disposable. And that your partaking of that disposable communion takes your power from you. Correct? Anyone out there. It's like this, right? You are engaging in a system that's been set up by the corporate gods of this world. And your engagement in that system has been set up in such a way that even your rebellion against it has been monetized. None. Sorry, go on, Justin. Yes. And our party is a group of disaffected corporate servants who, whether they have seen through this illusion, whether they are motivated by pure vengeance, or whether they are motivated by their intent to join this world of corporate deification, you are victims of this world as you begin as level 1 characters. So with that in mind, I'm sorry, I tried to do this earlier. Let me kick it over. I haven't really heard the voices of Alex, Chris, Justin. What do you guys feel about this world? What kind of stories have we come here to tell? What kind of stories have we not even realized that we can tell here yet? Vengeance, like we said, one of the motivations. What else? For sure. Give that to me in just one sec. No, you're fine. So, Chris. I'm sorry, we need... Who's Chris number 1? Who's Chris number 2? We gotta sort this out right now. Alright, so, in that case, Chris, not Christina. Chris, what do you feel about this world so far? You've been the quietest so far. What's our purpose here as adventurers? What's our purpose here as people and players? Mm-hmm. So, to put it in terms of the immortal Mike Pondsmith's own world building, in terms of cyberpunk, you want to plant the bomb that topples Arasaka Tower. I, so, very well said. And yet, somehow still, the group that you found of similar malcontents. Oh, I'm robotic? One sec. Okay. Okay, so the group that you found of like your similar malcontents, meaning your party, because again, we've already decided session 1 is going to begin with the premise that you guys have decided to form a corporation of your own. You are all, in some way, people who have been injured by the largest corporation in Asvelte, known as the Zephyr Corporation. Zephyr is responsible for the world's most stable and most global currency. It's... what's that called again, Chris? I can't remember. Christina, I'm sorry. This... they're basically bitcoins, right? Yes. Yes. So, everyone here is trying to upend the order of the world. Everyone in this group hates fascism in one way or another. Whether it's because they want to become that, or whether it's they want to burn it down. With that in mind, again, we're not in session 1 yet. We've already agreed though that session 1 is going to be you guys sitting around a table negotiating your corporate contract with each other. With that in mind, tell me about your characters one by one in the context of the world as we've just discussed it. What is it that Zephyr did to you? And why is it that you want to burn it all down? The biggest voice possible. That is a beautiful statement. So when Biggie looks at, and again, we have nothing solid in this world yet. I generated this map art with like fucking Mid Journey and like 6 words, right? But when I look at this piece of art, my first thought is this is the Zephyr Spire. That's my first thought. When we look at the city of Duskenvale, which is the setting in which we'll be playing, thank you. Yeah, I know the setting very well. Thank you, Chris. No, Duskenfold. When we look at the setting of Duskenfold, in my mind, this is kind of how I'm seeing it right now. Here at the center, some tremendous corporate Oculus, some panopticon owned by Zephyr that runs shit. So when Big E looks at this building before him, it's a matter of, I'm going to get to the top, and I'm going to turn that into a radio tower, right? Fucking solid. Anything else about Big E? Fuck yes. Okay. I love it. All right, so you are absolutely a rocker boy in spirit, even if not in name. What else, guys? Tell us about your characters. Ooh. That's dope as fuck. Okay, so Frederick, tell me, when you realize the god at the top of this spire, I love how the fucking AI art was generated here with that little point of light in the top of the spire, right? And yet behind it, the rising moon providing the true illumination. It's perfect. So with that in mind, Frederick, I got a couple questions. Do you think that you should DM this then? Uh, do you think that when you realized the nature of the deity that you were praying to, did you come face to face with it? Have you been to the top of the Zephyr Spire? Ooh, fuck yes. That's sexy. Okay, so definitely he's been up there, and only a few have been. In the same way that only a few people have been invited into, say, the Raven Queen's Tower of Memory, or only a few people have been allowed into the sacro sanctity of Shar's inner domain in the Plane of Shadow. Only Absolutely. With that in mind, I think this is super important. I'm going to ask you to roleplay a little bit here, and if you need a second for that, that's a-okay. But what I'd like you to do is I would like you not to describe the entity, but knowing that in the moment that you saw the entity, it broke you. What was your character's experience? Not... Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Everything. Everything good, everything bad, the tyranny of what is. You have seen it glowing outwards, expanding outwards from a single point. And for that brief moment, you saw, like revelation, the nervous system that this super AI has over the entire city, world, or just a corporation. Very good. So this just came into mind because we're talking about the scope of the deity's like uh influence, right? Christina rather, is there space travel in this world? Okay. So, that sounds like the state of space travel on Earth right now. So, very well said. With that in mind, let's get back to our character descriptions. Where do we see ourselves in Asvelte? How have we been disaffected by the Zephyr Corporation? Where do we see ourselves when we reach the top of that tower or burn it all down? Go for it. They probably also stuck her with the bill for the recovery efforts of bringing the boat out from underwater. Mm-hmm. That's dope as fuck. That's cool as fuck. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah, anything else to add? And instead of admiration, she felt rage. Repulsed. Yeah. That sounds like someone who wants to burn it all down. In a word, so much. Sink it into the Undercity. Fucking beautiful. Already, we're beginning to see some, not fractures, but we're beginning to see some misalignment in the party's true purpose. Already, I can see how our party thinks of each other as a means to an end. And really, I think that's just how we should be in a world like this. So with that in mind, what else we got, guys? Tell me about your characters. If you haven't spoken yet, speak up. Upwardly mobile. I like it. This this makes me think though. This is a question I think is best for Christina, which is we've talked about the roles of the gods in this world. Compared to the Forgotten Realms, what are devils? Yeah, what are devils? Is there any infernal power beyond, of course, that of the corporations? Are these like rogue AIs that have sunk into like the base systems of the world? I think that if you die, you're no longer a corpo. Alrighty, yeah. I'm gonna send that into the chat GPT. Hell is its own corporation. What happens to a corpo when they die? Considering the nature of divinity in Asvelte. I used the wrong it's. Hopefully, ChatGPT realizes that. Okay, so when a corporate individual or corpo dies, their soul's harvested by Hellcorp. Using specialized necrotech devices, these souls are then evaluated based on a complex algorithm that takes into account the deceased's deeds, contribution, debts, and violations. Based on the result, the soul might be recycled, stored, employed, or sold. What do we think about that? Yeah. Look, this is the era. This is the era of the executive producer. Anyone who's making art for themselves anymore needs to get the fuck with the times. I said this is the era of the exec. Oh, Hellcorp. Which part about it? Okay, so Hellcorp. So it's been death has been fundamentally altered by the god's departure and the rise of the corporate state. Hellcorp is responsible for processing and managing souls that enter the afterlife. When a corporate individual dies, their soul's harvested by Hellcorp using specialized necrotech devices. The souls are evaluated based on a complex algorithm that takes into account their deeds, their contributions, their debts, and their violations. Depending on the result, the soul might be recycled, stored, employed, or sold. And in the system, yes, but Kelemvor does it for the sake of compassion. Kelemvor puts you where you belong. In this system, they put you where you have the most value to the system. And so I think if Hell is going to be anything, Hell should be a holding company. Hell should be a fucking a market maker. Hell should be a privately owned investment company which has managed to gain enough shares of every corporation in the world as to create a degree of stability between them. Yo, we've had soul coins since, like, you know, what, 3rd edition or some shit? Here we go! Here we go! It's gotta. It is, but a soul coin is cryptocurrency, and the thing is that the damned soul has to do the calculations themselves by hand on a blackboard in a demiplane. Absolutely.
Well, I didn't have any inheritance to offer my children, so I thought it would be the right thing to do to have myself minted into an NFT. I suffer perpetually now, and my image is being used with unalienable rights by every corporation in the world, but I'm just glad that my children have something to retire on.
I think we're onto something here. Yeah? It's called Twitter. Elon Musk runs it, except Elon Musk is a 20,000 limbed, like, robot spider god who lives on one of the colonized planets. He will be the final boss of the campaign. I mean, it can. I mean, look. It definitely can now, like, for sure. Infernatech? Fuck yes. Oh yeah? What? So, with that in mind, is the in that case is Hootie's motivation to seek the height of the Zephyr Spire to become above suspicion? Past all of the aerial drones. It's fine. Very good. Another mission of vengeance in that case. So, we have talked about our characters, why they're doing what they're doing. In our previous session 0, one of the things that we discussed and that we mentioned is that essentially it seems like our characters are antagonists in this world. Not to say that they're evil, not to say that they're doing anything wrong, but that fundamentally they are rebelling against the order of this world. In the same way that, like, Luke Skywalker just wanted to go home and wanted everything to be normal again, we're the opposite. None of us have any home to go to. None of us have any normal to get back to. And because of that, we're going to make our own normal. Does that sound right? Yeah, does that sound right? So, fundamentally, when we talked about this last time, when we talk about narrative structure, protagonists, they tend to be reactive. They tend to wait for something to happen so that they can then go restore the status quo. With our characters, we're going to make shit happen. With that in mind, let's shift the conversation. Yeah. You are. You're bosses. You're going to make your session 1 is make your own corporation. You guys are literally your own bosses in this world. With that in mind, let's So, with that in mind, but what if Hootie has like 50% of the shares? You don't know. You don't know. What if the mice are fucking like board members? He snuck that into the contract. So, with that in mind, let's narrow our focus. Well, first, let me give us the option to narrow our focus. Do we want to talk more about the general setting? Should we talk more about just our general expectations for the setting and what's going on in both Asvelte as a world and Duskenfold as a city? Or should we... Okay. So... Uh-huh. It's urban. There was a dope thing today. Who? Fuck. Who's playing the druid again? That's Chris, right? Yeah. Dude, repeat what you were talking about in terms of how primordial power works in this world. Biomechanical. The way the. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to repeat something that you told me in our convo earlier, which is that when you looked at the primordial power of this world, which in the Forgotten Realms is the oldest oak tree that's been there before the gods, the oldest ocean, the oldest river that's been there before the gods. In this world, everything's been consumed. Everything's owned. There's no such thing as a public domain, and because there's no such thing as a public domain, every tree in the world's owned. Every tree in the world's on someone's fucking payroll. With that in mind, it's a fallen world. It's a post-lapsarian world where the primordial power has been fundamentally corrupted. But at the same time, it's also become something that is holy in its own right. In the same way that, I don't know if you guys, I lived in New York City for a few years, right? That is a place where there's an organic primordial power, but it is still very much part of the streets, part of the skyscrapers, part of the inorganic constructs that men have made. There is still an organic power that flows through them and possesses them. Like a daisy growing out of a crack in a sidewalk. It's... Yes. And so when I look at druidism in this world, when I look at the primordial power, I think of it as something that's become divorced from nature. But like, it and nature still talk. Because they gotta. Because they got some shit that they're holding up together. Exactly. Exactly. You're too young to know anything about that. Shut the fuck up, Alex. Stop being wise. Anyway, no, but that's... that's not, but no, that's kind of how I look at that, right? So, with that in mind, right? We've seen our characters. We've talked about what our motivations are. Something I notice immediately that's really cool about this group is that we've got kind of a Dragonlance thing going on. Where, like, we're not actually in this for any of the same reasons. We are in this together because each one of us is racing to the top of the Zephyr Spire and trying to use it for their own purpose, right? So unless there are any disagreements, with that in mind, what I think is really cool about this is we are going to end up in PvP. Now, I'm not saying we're going to end up fighting each other. In fact, I don't think we're going to end up fighting each other. Kind of like that. Probably so. Because that's the nature of fascism, right? There has to be a winner under fascism. That will be so if you guys get to the top of the Zephyr Spire and you don't use that opportunity to overturn the world. And from what I hear so far, the nature of our story is everyone is actually still invested in this world. Every single one of you is still in the mindset of this world. You're just mad, and you want to win now instead of lose. Yeah? Yep. So the way that I think PvP is going to go at this table, I don't think you guys are ever going to draw steel against each other, not even in the final act and like level 17 tier 4 stuff. But I absolutely see a lot of psychological movement amongst the party as you each try to reconnoiter each other into your individual character's goals. Yes, because you need each other. That's the premise of this campaign, is y'all need each other. There are not a ton of people in this world who are as motivated and as willing to risk yourselves as you are. You have all been hurt by this world. You have all got a grudge against this world. And more than that, every one of you is enough of a hero, good or evil, to say, I'm not going to take that. And if you won't, then you're going to need someone to help you out, because this world's built on power. So you're all using each other, right? That's the nature of this adventuring party, at least from its get-go, is every one of you is using each other. Every one of you looks at your party members as a tool, as a means to an end. So with that in mind, all we're lacking at this point is an adventure. We've already decided session 1 is going to be you guys sitting around a table, negotiating your corporate contract with each other, finding an agreement that is amicable to each and every one of you. That said, we've also established you guys are going to be the antagonists of this world. You are going to make things happen. With that in mind, imagine, forget the corporate contract, but imagine that you have negotiated it, each and every one of you, and you agree you're in this together. What kind of adventure would you guys like to go on for our first few sessions?
the whole trade going really easily. We could mix the both ideas of big what's your character name again? Sorry, I was gonna tell you. Okay, Kylo. And we can mix Big Empire's ideas of we're stealing the virus that plagued memories of the gods, use that like destroy the memories of the gods, and we threaten, and we just went there and play records. We put ourselves as the most musicians. Yeah, and we can use that, and I don't know if we can use that right. Don't use it in a legal battle. We could have, for the first premise, used the idea of viruses and the big heist is sort of like the virus to get funds and other stuff. Like the big thing in the next few sessions is the stolen the heist of like the god virus.
So, I would imagine that any entity that still had a degree of control over the resonant miasma, just based on what I know of this setting, that kind of seems like an endgame quest to me. I think this is a very strong motivation. I think it responds very well to the pressures in the setting. But I want us to get narrow-minded. I want us to think in terms of 3 to 5 sessions. Y'all have said that the first goal for your corporation is going to be to get some funds. Very good. In this world, a street gang and a corporation are very much simply distinguished by how much power they have. So, yeah. Okay. So, how are we gonna do that? Okay. I I I got one. I got one that's better than that. Or not even better, but I got something that builds off that and makes it better. It's a pyramid scheme. Okay. In that case, the party needs a pyramid. Deep beneath the city of Dusk and Fold, within the Undercity, many, many decades ago, there was an arms trafficking corporation similar to the situation you're describing. They created their city, they created their corpo headquarters underground so that the shock waves and the blast radii of what they were testing would only be registered as tremors. Whatever this corporation was, it was abandoned decades ago. Underground, the machinery is inert. The corporate status within the legal books is defunct. Yet, if your party desired a base of operations, if your party desired a corpse upon which to feast, then a journey into the Undercity, clearing out this ziggurat underground, this literal pyramid, which is arranged as such so that its weapons can be pushed out of its top into the city above. Maybe claiming an area like that for yourselves would be a good first quest. As you deal with the street gangs, the mutants, the rogue AI, and the old patrol drones that still haunt the place. Sounds like it. So, what kind of thoughts do we have about that? Investigating. Mm-hmm. No, I think we make this work, right? So here's an idea in terms of a pyramid scheme. Have you guys heard of the term corporate feudalism before? So the premise of corporate feudalism is that if a corporation is capable of offering you the goods that you need for life, it's like, you load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. If there's a company store that is providing your groceries, providing your housing, providing your whatever, right? Your security, then you're very much in a similar situation like a serf was in medieval England, where you're not really at liberty to move away from your farm, you're not really at liberty to move away from the land that you're on. You are bound to the land. And I think that corporate feudalism, in the same way that like Google at some of their campuses is like offering people housing, and implanting RFID chips into their necks and into their fucking fingertips so that they can access that housing, that's a beautiful example of corporate feudalism that happens in reality. Now, perhaps if our party wants to make a pyramid scheme, that's the purest form of a pyramid scheme. And if you are going to be corporate feudal overlords, you need a base of power. And so that's the way I see the literal pyramid, the literal ziggurat underground. You guys clear that out, then you can provide housing, you can provide employment, you can provide the things that a feudal lord needs to be able to provide.
Yeah, I like that.
Dope. So in that case, it sounds like our first adventure is going to be a very socially based dungeon crawl. And what I mean by that is you guys are going to be crawling through the countless rooms of an ancient ziggurat. The city above you, at your disposal at any time, your time scale your own. The rooms that you choose to clear out, the battles that you choose to take, should all have a purpose in the sense that you're not here to get loot. You're not here to kill bad guys. You're here to create a corporate property for yourselves. And there's an efficient way and there's an inefficient way to do that. Okay. I'm gonna take 10 minutes. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette, get some water to drink. If y'all would like to take a break, all good. If you guys would like to cogitate on that and think of some criticisms, maybe think of what you guys need specifically out of that adventure as players, let's take a minute, we'll think about that, and we'll be back in a few. Let's come back at 11 minutes past the hour. came back. I heard baby beluga head. Which head? What? Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind. Like, not... He's not Robert on his birth certificate. He's Robbie. Okay, well that's better. Robbie's gay. It's fine. It's... I'll put it like this. I've never been called faggot by someone who doesn't have at least a little bit of, like, tension there, right? But... I don't know. Look, guys, like, look, we have been who we have. We are who we are. We have been for years. We've been running this game for a year now. We are who the fuck we are on stream. It's okay. That's okay. You know what? It's okay. I'll move to kick. I'll move to kick. There's no rules as I've been informed. Oh my god. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. It's fair. It's fair. You know. Jesus Christ. Okay, on that note, my dear friends. God. Justin, you're too fucking Catholic to say shit like that. Like, you can't. You just fucking can't. Go ask for forgiveness. What the fuck, my man? Alright, we are good to go. I can try. I could. Good shit, guys. So, I swear to God I had a thought while I was smoking not one but two cigarettes, but the thought's gone now. Doesn't matter. It was something to do with this ziggurat that we're going to be assaulting. Until the thought comes back to me, let's talk a little bit more about our first adventure. What do we want out of it? Like, we've got an idea of our setting. above city, right? We've got an idea of our objective in the form of, oh, I remember what it was. Houdini. You said that like you were not originally employed by Zephyr, right? Aegis. So we already established whatever this like fucking ziggurat is, it was some kind of arms manufacturer. Maybe this is the old headquarters of Aegis. Oh my god. Triple H? Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm already working on some possibilities. you you've heard the story of like Hootie and the Blowfish, right? Like it's fucked up. I cannot remember the man's name. Like the lead singer, he left the fucking, I want to say party, the band. And like he was a performer, like a solo act, and no one knows his damn name. They're just always like, "Yeah, Hootie. Do it, Hootie." He's like, "My name's not Hootie. It's never been Hootie." Like Josie and the fucking Pussycats? Yeah. So I mean, oh, this is so cool. Okay, you said something super cool just now, Justin. We're trying to build a world tree out of money. Okay, this is a thought I've had for a while in terms of like how do fantasy universes work. There are fundamentally three forms of currency, right? Blood, gold, and mana. When we talk about blood, we literally mean blood, sweat, and tears. Your ability to bleed for something and to bring it into existence. When we talk about gold, sorry, when we talk about mana, we're talking about people's belief in what is real. If you can convince someone that a god is real, that god's real. If you can convince someone that a corporation is real, that corporation is real. And in that same sense, gold is an expression of that. Gold is an expression of what people can be convinced has value as a currency, and what you can convince them to believe in, and what you can convince them to bleed, sweat, and cry for. With that in mind, why not? Look at like Shar and Saloon. Nightmares? Yeah. Oh my god. The Wait! Wait, that's actually go on. Mouse eating. Okay, there's a thing here actually. This is fucked up. This is mythological. Ratoskar. No, who the fuck is it, dude? There's some creature that nibbles at the. Okay. Nidhogg. Right, Nidhogg. Okay, it's never mind. It's the serpent. No, Nidhogg. Nidhogg is the serpent that nibbles at the roots of the world tree. And that's traditionally the devil in Norse mythology. Essentially, the analog to the devil. It devours the roots of reality. I mean, the mice are kind of the same. And if our goal is to build a world tree, if our goal is to build, and when we talk of a tree, right, we're really talking of a nervous system. I'm certain you guys have seen before probably examples of how like neurons are patterned out in the same way that universes are patterned out, that cities are patterned out in the same way that slime molds are patterned out. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. So uh if you look at the tendrils of a fern, and again, ferns are older than grass. Like if we're talking evolutionarily, ferns are like the oldest type of plant that exists. If you look at a fern's tendrils are patterned out according to the Fibonacci sequence, according to a mathematical golden ratio that is in some ways eternal. In that same way, when we talk about the world tree, the limbs of a tree, the paths that a tree chooses to grow along are very similar to the way that neurons choose to grow within a person's brain, and are physiologically similar to the way that universes grow and the way that galaxies separate out and give each other space but still connect to each other. So, in the same way that there's no such thing as a public domain in this world. Corporations own everything. There's no such thing as an internet. There are only corporate intranets. It seems like the party's goal is to create the public domain. It seems like the party's goal is, whether it's for the sake of using it for themselves, the party's goal is to create a world tree, to create an AI, or to create a magic system or a god or something whose roots go as deep gets and whose branches go as high gets, taller than the Zephyr Spire. So, I think we have our tier 1 adventure. I think our tier 1 adventure from levels 1 through 4 is going to be you guys clearing out and taking control of as much of the old Aegis Corporation as you can. Going into this old ziggurat, bypassing its defenses, and making it your own. And I think that should give us, between that and your explorations of the city above, I think that should give us more than enough content to run through for Tier 1. And something I think our two Justins here, and Chris as well, can probably testify to, this would be very similar in structure to our Mad Mage campaign. In the sense that you have a dungeon below ground that it's not going to keep you there. It's not going to make you keep exploring it. You can go into it and go out of it at your leisure. There's a whole city above where anything can be obtained. But in order to gain more power over that city, fundamentally you got to get underneath it. The Aegis Corporation, this old pyramid in the Undercity, this ziggurat corporation that is defunct and has sunk into the ground. It's been overtaken by the denizens of the Undercity. It's been overtaken by the rogue AIs that once guarded it. It's been overtaken by the drones and the robots and the chemical experiments within that once were owned by Aegis. What I think we should do is we should plan to treat it like a series of 5-room dungeons, where any given session there is going to be an objective, a concrete objective that you can achieve within the Aegis ziggurat. where it's like, okay, look, today we're trying to get to the security room. If we can get to the security room, and this is just an example, then we will own the previous 5 rooms, and that'll be our base of operations. And when we need to go expand, when we need to get to the weapons laboratory, when we need to get to the R&D vaults, when we need to get to the data mainframe, we can choose to go push this dungeon, but this dungeon is not going to drag us into it. Does that sound good to everyone else? I mean, you guys know I'm always good with solo adventures at my table. I always offer them. If you've got the time and you have the willpower, you're more than welcome to play a session by yourself in between games. The way that would work, like always, I do not downscale solo adventures at all. So if you want to go on a solo adventure, you want to go do something in the city, it's dangerous. There's a reason you have a party in the first place. But when you achieve things by yourself, you also take all the rewards. And in a group like this, which fundamentally is competitive against each other, I think solo adventure, even if we don't play it out in a session, even if you're just giving me downtime notes about what you guys are doing between sessions, I think that'll be really valuable, both to your individual characters' goals and also to us creating the internal tension that's going to move the plot along in this group. Yeah, absolutely is. No, that's something that will... Nope. You... Oh my god. Inflation has occurred. I'm sorry. Synthbox times 20, right? It's $500 for the Big Titty Kobold in this setting. Yeah. Bro, my character in this setting has 4 titties like a cow and 2 penises like a snake. Get with the times. Hey. So, this is another fun thing. I think that if we're, like we already said, session 1's going to be the negotiation for the contract amongst the group, right? So I think that ahead of time, you guys should know, session 1, your goal is to go take the old Aegis Corporation for yourselves. Whatever you can. So the negotiation of the contract in session 1 should be focused around that. You guys are a new adventuring party. You're making a contract that is going to lock all of you into this quest. And is going to ensure that you guys treat each other, maybe not fairly, but acceptably. Whatever that means to each of you. That's going to be something you guys decide. It could be magical in nature, it could be legal in nature, it could be a matter of everyone having dirt on everyone else. It's really up to you guys. You spilled your beans, son. Why'd you have to spill your beans? Okay, I feel like we have an adventure. I feel like we have an adventuring party. That's all we need to start playing this game. That said, we've also got a setting, and we also have some very brilliant people in this call still. What else? Like, not I don't have any objective in saying what else. Just what else? You know, as we wrap up here, what other thoughts do we have about this setting? What else should we consider? Okay, no, that's solid. What about them? Chris, can you field that? I'm still really unfamiliar with the way the equipment works in this world. So, thanks to and interrupt me here if I'm wrong, Christina. But according to the resonant miasma, the plague, the psionic plague that was released, we have no memory of the previous gods of this world. We don't know who they are. We don't know what their portfolios or their identities are. The gods of the old light are a mystery. Perhaps that is a mystery that is understood at the upper echelons of corporate interests, but essentially the gods that exist here now are all new. They were all created in, what is it, the past 150 years? Or when did the resonant miasma take place, Chris? Okay. So, our new gods are still relatively new. Very relatively new. Which could be really interesting if he lived during the resonant miasma and he has experienced what that blank in his memory feels like. That could be really valuable narratively to have in the party. Absolutely. Great sword. Now, I saw that. I thought that's cool as hell. Okay, here are our... Okay, so
our best straight up improvement in this game is a light machine gun, which does 3d4 piercing damage, as opposed to, you know, a 2d6. Like, it is a higher average with the 3d4. So one thing I do like is that our etheric projectors are a little bit stronger than what we would consider to be average things, right? The hurricane, hella expensive, yes. Same thing with our energy firearms, like you know, the distant sun sniper, 1d12 radiant. Like, this is all very well balanced, Chris. Good job on that. So, I think the main difference we're going to see in combat in this world, fundamentally, is how important cover is. Similarly, I think this is going to bring a lot... Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell us about it. Yeah. That makes perfect sense in my mind. That seems solid to me. Does everyone else understand that? Yeah. Probably +4 in my... So, probably +2 if you're just using it as a shield and you're moving it. If you were to take the dodge action and plant the riot shield in the ground, I think it would probably take a +4. It would also take an action to remove and place back on your arm. Yeah. I completely agree. I remember entirely how you do power attacks. I've actually been... Okay, power attacks are the Great Weapon Master and the Sharpshooter feat in 5th edition, right? Where you take a -2 hit and you get a bonus. If I... Yes. And in this world, because everybody is going to be... Not literally every, but pretty much everyone's going to be using a gun, right? Or at least have it as part of their build. We don't want to make Sharpshooter, like, necessary to take. So the way power attacks work in Chris's setting, in Chris's version of it, essentially, is that all melees, everyone has access to power attacks anytime they make a melee attack. And the way that it works... Yeah, all weapon attacks. All weapon attacks, sorry. Is that you can forego your proficiency bonus on the attack, and if you hit, you get double your proficiency bonus as damage. I mean, we could work that out with cantrips. We can absolutely work that out with cantrips. If spellcasters are feeling left out, we can totally, like, develop something for that. It's... I think the biggest thing I disagree on in terms of, like, the internet just general thought about the spellcaster versus melee, like, divergence. I've played so many melees in T3 and T4. I swear to God, melees are stronger than spellcasters. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I get it. You need to have the correct tools that the spellcasters have to get through the dungeon, but, like, it's the strikers that, like, actually kill the bosses. Right. I do agree. Well, but I really do think a well-built fighter is the strongest class in the game. I really will never stop believing that. The fighter walks up. Yeah. Cover. Right, and I think with sharpshooter, I'd say like it removes half of whatever cover someone has. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean that sounds solid to me. Okay, so let's turn it back to the general setting. Let's get back into our taking the Aegis Ziggurat from beneath the city, planting a world tree in it. How are we feeling about our characters' motivations in the first session? How are we feeling so far about how invested we would organically be in this mission? Solid. Are we so in that case, if everyone's feeling excited, any reservations? Anyone feeling a little uncertain about this setting? Anyone feeling a little uncertain about the mission? Hey, same here. Same. I mean, I'm sitting here asking Chris, how do the weapons work in the setting that I'm supposed to run? So don't worry, you're not alone here. I have, yeah. 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 I think I have everything I need for our session 1 next week. Like we have a quest, we have a party, I need 5 rooms of a ziggurat under city, and I need to flesh out. I need to flesh out basically random encounters and social encounters and exploration encounters in the districts of Duskenfold itself. And then I think beyond that, I think we're all good, guys. Like I think we got a fucking campaign here. I think we got a real fucking campaign here. I will never call him anything but Houdini. I'm sorry. The order changes all the time because you have like 3 alternate identities and 3 social security numbers. Oh my god. Okay, hold. Okay, hold the fuck on for a second. I've been running this session 0 for 2 hours, and I just realized one of these things is not like the other. Which one of these tokens is not actually a party token? With Big E? This is Big E. Who? How many players do we have in this group? We have 6. That's why I'm confused. Okay, hold up. God damn it. There we go. I'm embarrassed. Say what? Yep. Hey, anything is possible here in the city of in the land of Asvelte. Alright, I just felt myself yawn. That's a physiological sign. Any other thoughts? Any other considerations? Either about the setting, the campaign, our characters, anything, guys. Throw it out here. Otherwise, I think we're set in our session 0. Very good. Very well said. They will follow the money. It'll lead you to the truth. That's just slavery with extra steps. Oh, okay. Slanesh mommy. Hello. Huh? Oh no. Have a good night, Christina. Ah. Unless y'all have any questions or comments for me, I think I'm probably gonna do the same. I've got a lot. I got a lot to think about with this setting. I'm so fucking excited. Hell yeah, guys. Anytime, message me anytime you need me. I'll be around. We're gonna pick up next week with the negotiation amongst the party. I expect the roleplay to take an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I don't mean this prescriptively, but if y'all do it right, I expect the roleplay to take about 2 hours among you guys. As you break down and build up what is it that this group's based on. Because, and then beyond that, we have a corporate ziggurat to unearth and reclaim. So, have a good week. Take care, guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.